Hey, welcome. We are live with the Marketing Happy Hour here on a Friday. I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelman from Maximize Your Media, our digital agency in San Diego, as well as Life Beyond Practice, which is the coaching program for doctors who want to have more free time, freedom, and funds with their own online business. And next to me, oh, wait, you don't get to be there. That was very tricky.
Right,
that was very
right on cue. Oh, my gosh.
We're penalizing John. Troy, you're next.
All right. Hey, I'm Troy McDonald with LiveEventMarketers.com, which will take you to the exact same group or the exact named group within Facebook, where we talk about live events that are related to marketing and or business. And also we talk about live event equipment and things like that. So you can go in there and talk about those things as well as promote your own live event that is going to happen or is happening right this minute. So go in there, and if you have a live event that's happening, you can go post it right now. And then that since we're penalizing somebody who tried to pop right in on the live,
down below is where
we're glad he's here. We're going to my left, which is Cam. So
Hey guys, what's up? This is Cam Fats, aka Cam Jennings, coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com. Thanks so much for having me here today, you guys. Max respect.
Okay, and being penalized for tardiness. Whoops, over there.
I'm over here.
Well, because I was trying to point to, I thought you'd be down there. So,
nope.
Who are you and why are you here?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's a great intro.
Hey, it's good to see you, John.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm John Paduchak. I'm a video marketer and owner of Targeted Net Solutions, our digital agency. And I just literally got parked here in the woods, so sorry I'm running a little late.
You made it. You actually got a signal. Your volume's a little low, so I don't know if you.
Let me see if I can adjust that. I had to do some fancy work to get a signal. So
I'm surprised you're not standing on top of the RV.
No.
Waving your phone in the air.
Didn't have to do that, but
that's good. Well, we're glad you actually made it. We got a signal from your camping.
Want to say hi to Terry. Terry's jumping on with us real early.
Yeah, Terry.
Hey, Terry, what's up?
Terry gave us a howdy. Whoops, where did she go? There she is. Terry gave us the howdy. And
Terry Thompson in the house.
She's there.
Representing Texas.
She is representing Texas. There she is. She's got multiple howdies. Yeah. So we have had different discussions on various topics, and one of the things that came up is why yesterday was the best time to start your business, pretty much no matter who you are, and how email marketing is probably the central pillar of creating a great foundation for a thriving business. And we just happen to have down below two big time email people. So I just may be a referee at this point. And we'll see what happens today.
Flag on the play.
And in fact, Cam below us has launched an email marketing program through, what was the Warrior Forum, I think?
Yeah, it's the new one. I put this one out through Warrior Plus.
Warrior Plus, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just people can go to warriorplus.com, and it's just a marketplace where they can buy digital products. Mostly the Warrior Plus specializes in internet marketing products, but they have products from all different, niches there. And I think the reason why people will launch on a Warrior Plus, the main reason if you launch on Warrior Plus, you're doing it because you're trying to pull affiliates around you to help you promote your product. If you're not trying to get affiliates, there's really no reason to launch on a network like that, because they're just going to take a little bit of a cut of the pie. So,
well, even more specifically, Cam's not only is he launching and uses email for that, but his product is based on email Fire 3, right? So it's actually a third we'll call it episode or segment, or third edition. That's the word I'm looking for.
Third episode. That's right.
Episode edition. I'm thinking of your podcast stuff. So
it's Email Fire 3, and it's not really a training product. What it is it's an autoresponder sequence. It's a set of emails. It's a 4-week sequence, And what it's designed to do, it's an engagement series. So what it's designed to do is to warm up cold leads. So like if you're trying to build an email list and you're building it with solo ads, or you're building it with safe lists, or you're building it with paid traffic, but basically people are hitting your list and they're very cold. They don't really know you, like you, or trust you. Like this autoresponder sequence is designed to warm them up. So you just load it into your autoresponder and let them go through the sequence. And then, you're going to be able to promote offers to them after they get through that 4-week sequence.
That's good. I think we're losing a little bit of your sound. I was getting a lot of crackling.
You got a loose
Yeah.
cable or something.
It does sound like it's a cable.
Whoa. I may have to mute Cam at this point.
You guys go ahead and talk, and let me do a little mic shuffling here, and I'll be back in a few
Yeah, I'm going to
minutes.
mute you. You can do all your shuffling. I'm just going to mute you for a little bit here.
Shuffle away.
Okay.
Yeah.
don't
Well,
go
actually,
away.
the funny thing, I do have to kind of razz Cam, especially since he's not here. But the
Now
funny thing is,
I have the opportunity.
we were talking the other day, though, he and I, about basically, spending some money on equipment and things. And so actually, I do have my new mic, and that's that I have plugged in that I'm using. And he was talking about, just using an inexpensive mic, should you buy all the new fancy stuff and whatever. And I only spent $60 on this mic. So $59 really. Yeah. But, and it, and he was talking about, just going cheap and whatever. And as you can see, he went cheap on his, stuff. Cause he actually was recently having an issue with another mic. And I don't know if this is a new one or one he just pulled out of, cause we have usually a lot of us that have computer stuff. We have old stuff that he plugged in. So maybe that's his issue. But in regards to email, what kind of angle, or where do you want to go with it? I mean,
well, I think, we talk about starting a business. Well, the first part of it really is the idea that the best time to start a business, forget the email, is yesterday. And that timing and people sitting around twiddling their thumbs and twirling the ideas in their head really doesn't get anything done. And how actually many people who've never even considered a business are probably going to have a greater degree of security with their own business than they would with regular employment.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that, and I've even used the statement before, best time was yesterday. At the same time, yesterday's gone, right? So what it really becomes is there's today.
Yeah.
So the best time to start a business is today. Now, I, as a person, do a lot of thinking, right? I mean, who doesn't? But there is a point too that goes along with this of you do have to then just make a decision and just get rolling. I think you want to have, a few things figured out, or at least a general direction, but you need to get started today. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because if you're waiting for tomorrow, in other words, meaning things to be perfect, or you have it all figured out, tomorrow never comes, because the way I've always described it is tomorrow always becomes today. And then yesterday is what was today. So, I mean, you only really have today.
Yeah. I mean, the future was there a moment ago. Oh, it's gone. It's now the past.
No time like the present.
Let's see. Hey, speaking of present, I wonder if Cam's got his mic going. Let me see if I can unmute.
He got his summer snowball with him.
Can we hear you?
What's up,
fellas?
fellas?
Much better.
Is that better?
There you
Much
go.
better.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a return policy on that other mic. So.
Oh, I didn't buy it.
Oh, you didn't buy anything? You found it in the alley?
No, I just been doing this for a while, so I got more than just like one thing.
Right.
Obviously, I didn't just grow this on my back porch.
It looks
just add some water, right?
Looks like a puffball or something.
I got quite a few different little pieces of equipment laying around because I've been doing this for a few years, and then before that, I was a musician and I did a lot of recording and stuff. So I have a lot of mics and stuff, but I don't know, man. I personally have just been kind of preferring the cheaper headsets lately.
Do you don't need I don't have to FedEx this to you, the Samsung.
That's a nice little mic, man.
They are nice.
I'll keep it. Hey, so Troy was mentioning you're mentioning about email. Whoa, we've got some big questions here.
Well, Terry just popped up
Terry just popped
comment.
up. She totally gets. Whoa, this is. Show this one. I gotta put my extra reading glasses on there. Terry's saying I got a truly get a ton of business by prospecting via email. When you're face to face, it's personable and great. Rejection over and over is down-putting. Also, over the phone, they take a message, blow you off, etc. For Troy, she's laughing out loud. You got to put in the work either way. If you take the time to send a personal email, maybe a flyer with info, something colorful or eye-catching, that gives people a chance to think about it. They can discuss it with the office staff, family, or other. And by the time, I think she's continuing on a long comment or question, but we
now, Terry, I don't know what you're saying about I mean, I know you, so I know there's probably nothing negative there, but people who don't know you, because it said somehow blowing you off, and that's for Troy and whatever. So I'm like, were you saying that I blew you off, or somebody blew me off? Anyway,
I read that totally differently.
Okay.
When you're doing prospecting with people, and you're
yeah, that's right, because
people blow you off. Yeah,
that's right, because we did talk about that on a previous episode. Yeah. Just people blowing you off, like with the Live Event Marketers group. So I would, well, long story short, let's stay on topic. But that's what it was about that.
Well, and if you drop off a brochure to somebody, people say, well, I'll think about it. Or the brochure gets the round file, winds up in the trash. So.
Well, I know that Terry specifically had been doing some flyers for her home business of her baking business.
Right.
And they were colorful and all that kind of stuff like that. And she was doing them around her neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's what it takes really, is taking action and going out there, meeting and greeting people, even if you have to be in a mask or something like that. The reality is that people buy from people, and in order to get customers, you have to meet and talk to people.
Troy doesn't like the term etc.
Well, no, she's referring to how in the past I used to say et cetera, and then I got stuck on it and whatever. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, that's our clarification.
I'm a problem child. So
try.
But now in regards to email, specifically, yes, I've done a lot with email. I mean, that's kind of really been my big thing over the years, is really kind of lead generation, right? Meaning, email subscribers, and generating them. And my more recent focus and things that I'm working on is, even though you're building an audience, but I'm doing more of an emphasis on audience. So in other words, getting to know your subscribers, getting to know your people, getting to know what you stand for in regards to your product. Because you can, at least from a marketer standpoint, I know like Cam, for example, well, and even you guys too, but John, Dr. V, having various different products, right? So you may have products that can go to multiple segments of your list, or sometimes you come out with a product that only a certain portion of your list will be interested in. That's what I'm saying, getting to know your audience for that product, even though you have a list and stuff. But
I understand that completely, because I have a program which is social media for doctor called InstaPatients, and I'm not going to send that to a CPA or an attorney.
Right.
Yeah. But the principles are the same.
Sure.
I mean, it could be Insta clients or something like that if you're trying to go for the attorney market. But all the examples that I have are in my niche, which are doctors. So, John, what's your thought on email list building and the foundation and all? Because I think you and I are going to be relatively silent through most of this, as we let Cam and Troy do most of the talking. So.
Well, I mean, it's kind of critical, because there's no other way to really keep in touch with your clients and customers and leads, except with email. So it's really a critical piece, and it works so well with everything else, your social media, and just being able to tie it all in together. You got to have it. I mean, anybody who's not using email is being pretty short-sighted, in my opinion.
Well, and we've heard a lot of scuttlebutt nowadays, because people will say, "Oh, email is dead. You can't do anything with email. It's all about."
But they say that every year, though.
Every year, yeah. It's about chatbots.
It's certainly morphed and changed over the years. That's for sure. I mean, there's so many different ways to use it and be much more effective with it. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think you really have to mail much more frequently to be effective with it, to stay top of mind with people.
I think Cam's probably got 2 cents for that one.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like for this campaign I'm doing right now for the Email Fire 3 campaign, it's going to be a 4-day launch. So I'm going to be sending out 2 emails a day.
Yeah.
So that's 8 emails over a 4-day period. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe like 3 years ago, it would have been like, I don't want to send an email every day or send 2 emails a day. That's unheard of. That's the spamming people,
Right.
So I definitely think John has a point. The landscape has changed, but the landscape's always changing. That's nothing new.
Absolutely.
One thing that hasn't changed is I think with email, it's just the cheapest, most highest converting form of traffic that I can get. I mean, if I'm doing paid traffic, I need to have an emphasis on putting those people on some kind of a list so I can follow up and reduce the cost of the traffic. Does that make sense? Am I rambling on?
No, it's actually
No.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's complete sense. Makes complete sense.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's just, I mean, people do say things like email's dead. People say things like, I don't need to do email marketing anymore. I'm going straight Facebook ads to offer, to webinar, whatever. I mean, look, I mean, it's
What about
just,
using social media then to harvest emails, names, and emails?
yeah, it's good. It's good. You mean like organically or paid?
Well, I mean, organically to start with, but I mean, I've seen people do pixels, which actually kind of follow people around and then getting subscribers from their blogs or their website.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It depends on your budget. It depends on what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And also it depends on what the hell you know, because when you don't know anything, you're going to spend some money. You're going to waste money. And there's 2 things you don't know, right? When you start, there's 2 things you don't know. One, you don't know what the hell you're doing when it comes to the advertising. So you're going to be blowing money in that respect. And number 2, you don't know what the hell you're looking at when it comes to the data. So like you're going to be, there's quite a learning curve is what I'm saying. So, there's a couple things you have to figure out when you do it. I recommend people start with the free methods that you were talking about, Doc. And for that, it's good. It's slower though. Obviously it's slow going. If you're going to use social media to build an email list, it can be slow. And I think it's a matter of being consistent with your free content. If you want a faster, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
No, that's fine.
I think if you want a faster way to do it, if you want a faster way to build lists, they definitely exist without using paid traffic, without doing social. One of the ways is what I'm doing right now. I'm launching a product. It's a low ticket product. It's going to put hundreds of people on my email list in a few days. And I'm being paid to do so. I don't know. I mean, that's a really effective, really good way to build a list in any niche. So
there's other ways. I mean, more specifically in doing a launch, you can do a launch where you're giving the affiliates 100% of the profit. You know what I mean? And that actually does raise eyebrows of certain affiliates and stuff. So, I mean, that's an idea, but like from the very, very beginner, because I remember what it was like, when you had no list, but you knew that you needed a list, right? So you sign up for your autoresponder. Okay, I got an autoresponder. And then you start either, doing your content or whatever. And I think people need to just understand that, any marketing thing, whether it's a new product and you might have something that you can dip into like a list and you can let people know about it, or just a new venture that you have, or even just new content that you have, and you want to get them onto another list or to segment them. It all starts with one subscriber, you know what I mean, and it adds up. And don't get fooled by the simple fact that you'll see so many people talk about having a big list, right? Well, those of us who've been around for some time have a big list, which is a relative, term. We don't need to throw out any particular numbers, but it's because we've been building it from 1 subscriber to 2 subscribers to 3, and then 2 people unsubscribe, but then you get 4 more. I mean, that's just how it works, right? If people unsubscribe, I know, I think Dr. V's talked about it before, but they're self-selecting, right? Like You want the people that want to, hear your message.
Yep.
And at the same time, just remember, because the main thing that I wanted to cover with the moment I started talking right now was, it just does start with 1 subscriber and 2 and 3, and don't get discouraged. You're building, and that's what it's all about. And again, like say Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's 1 brick at a time, it's 1 subscriber at a time, etc.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things too, because somebody who just has a huge list, like 100,000 or 1 million people, is not necessarily harvesting dollars from that list, because the question is, how engaged are they within your list? Or are you just kind of holding on to dead weight with your monthly fees?
Well, it can be both, actually. It just really depends. Like you say, how have they nurtured the list, and how do they handle the list?
Is there a time when you decide, either of you decide, or all 3 of you decide to dump somebody because they haven't interacted with you, say a year or 6 months or 2 years, or what's the time frame? I mean, I know it probably depends.
For me, it's 3 months. Like,
Okay.
if you haven't opened any of my emails in 3 months,
Yeah.
and I try to keep the list. I try to keep I don't just have 1 list. I have about 40 lists,
Right.
and I just say list because it's easier than saying, yeah, my list, 40 lists or whatever. But like, I try to keep them fairly clean. So that's a 3-month period where if you haven't opened anything in 3 months, then it's time for you to go. And it's not like personal. It's not like there's nothing personal in this game. It's just, you just don't belong there anymore. You don't really care about what's happening there anyway. So it's just I do think that if you're doing your email marketing good, you can really, really extend the life of your leads and your customers.
Mm-hmm.
Like earlier, I was talking about these crush campaigns or these blitz campaigns where you're doing like 2 or 3 emails a day.
Right.
Like, if you're doing those right, like, no one's going to be leaving your list. No one's going to be complaining that you're spamming them.
Right.
So anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys. I'm just rambling on.
No, John, do you have a time limit where you want to boot somebody out if they haven't responded?
Probably somewhere in the 3 to 6 month time frame too.
No, I think I'm a 6-monther.
I think it varies
Yeah.
around there. It kind of depends on the list and what's going on in it.
Yeah. Troy?
Yeah, I'm in agreement as well. I mean, I kind of hit, you bounce around because you kind of wonder your, self-doubt. Wait, should I have done that a little bit longer? So it is the 90 to 180, which is 6 months. So 3 months is 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm same thing with Cam. I mean, with having multiple lists, I just refer to it as lists, but it really is a list. They're just segmented,
right?
In one form or another, and each list service, lets you handle that differently. Whether it's some with actual different groups of lists, or it's just tagging, because there's a lot of right. They call it the pure way to do it, where they're just tagged. But I can have a problem with that, because I know I'm kind of going off on a small tangent here. But if you have, let's just say you have 2 lists, right? And let's just say your list that you mail, and then you have your buyer's list.
Right.
Well, the pure form doesn't let you have those 2 lists. You just have one big list, and you can mark somebody as a buyer. Right. But if they unsubscribe from anything, then they are gone. Whereas now you can't contact them as a buyer, right? That they've bought from you before, to say, hey, we've made an update to XYZ product or service, because they were unsubscribing maybe from your normal mailings. They're like, whatever, that's cool. I just need to know what's on the buyer stuff, because and they're not, people don't always know that when they unsubscribe, that they actually have removed themselves from the buyers list. So I don't know why. I mean, I understand how the thought process from a provider, that that sounds right, like, oh yeah, let's just make it pure. But from a marketing standpoint, it doesn't. So anyway, that's my tangent.
I'd rather get down and dirty than have purity.
Well, yeah.
Welcome back, John.
You're muted, John.
I didn't mute him.
No, he is somehow on his end.
Did John mute himself? Was he frozen?
Yeah. No,
he's not frozen. I did not mute John, but
you're still silent, John.
The sound of silence. So I muted and unmuted, and now Unmuting
Some
again.
people get really some people get really I know we were talking about segmentation a little bit with the email lists.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, people sometimes people get too crazy with the segmentation. I mean, a lot of this, if you're in the same niche, if all these people were in the same niche, like I put out a product on list building, that goes out, 1,000 people end up on that list. Then I put another product out, a month later or 2 months later on affiliate marketing, right? And then that goes out, and I have 2 different lists there, and you could say, well, that's 2 different segments. These people who bought this affiliate marketing product, you're going to send them stuff on affiliate marketing.
Right.
Well, they also care about the list building stuff. They're all in that same internet marketing, make money online kind of
niche. Yeah.
And they all go together. I mean, you can't segment, obviously. Like I know, this is several years ago, I did a product about Kindle publishing, and that those Kindle guys, they're not always so hip to the other stuff. So I mean, there is definitely a place for segmentation, but some people take it to another level and they screw up their sales because of it. So
if you only have a list of buyers who buy on Thursdays, that's going to screw you up too in terms of timing and things.
Yeah, I agree. You can get segmentation crazy, and I think it really comes down to just your just general mailing list, which is in essence everybody.
Yeah,
then you have your buyers, and that's just more of you may want to know like which product they bought, but I still would mail them everything. And there are some exceptions, like Cam said, like Kindle people are, if you really think about their mindset, they're like, well, I'm producing something and then I'm just using Amazon to sell it, and it kind of ends there. They don't really think about, they're not a traditional marketer that stays into affiliate marketing, that's going to need list building, that's going to need maybe some ideas on video stuff, it's going to want to know how to use YouTube and all that kind of stuff like that to work with the rest of the business.
But they're also vulnerable because they don't have the emails of the customer information because they're relying on Amazon.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that brings me to my next point. Many times you can still sell to those other segments. You just have to handle them a little bit differently. Like I can still like the product I'm releasing right now, I can sell that to a Kindle crowd. But the emails have to be handled a little bit differently. I have to connect the dots more for them.
Yeah, you have to connect the dots. Well, yeah. Well, actually, Cam, you would connect it for anybody, right? Like if you had just a a particular affiliate list that were affiliate product buyers, or they're affiliates that bought a product about affiliate marketing, right? Or if it's their people that are bought a product that you did about YouTube, you want to always connect the dots, because basically making your thing relevant to what they've already raised their hand and said they're interested in.
Yeah, just some of these sub niches, like you just don't have to connect the dots as much. Like, it's more of like, I can tell a story and then I can circle that right into like a takeaway or a lesson or something that gives them value, and then circle that right into like a pitch. And with the Kindle guys, or with, it could be something else, it could be like printables or something like that. People who are making money on that specific kind of thing, and they might not be that educated on the other marketing stuff. That like someone who sells books on Kindle, they might not even know how to do an email list. I mean, that might not even be something they've done before. So there's a little bit more education required with some of that stuff to connect the dots for them on how they can use this particular thing to scale up what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey, John, are you able to speak again?
I think so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you got volume.
Cool.
You were saying something, but it looked like a silent film in living color.
Oh,
well, it looks like it's better now. Yeah. All right. So the thing that I want to talk about list building, because I remember, back in the day, right? So when I first got started, I had produced a piece of software. Well, actually, so let me just talk about back in the day. But what you need to look at, what I'm talking about in this little small story, is it's just about being creative. So back in the day, there were people that would have their own newsletters, right? I mean, well, it's kind of funny. That's what we used to call them, is the newsletters, right? Instead of like a mailing or announcement list, or I don't know. I mean, like we just like, let's have a newsletter, because that kind of refers back to what existed prior was a physical mailed newsletter, right? So what I did is I came up with a piece of software, and this was to give away as an incentive to subscribe. And it was a piece of software that would help you to manage your email ad swaps. So you found somebody else that had another newsletter on a particular topic, and it was related to yours. So like say if yours was gardening, right? And you talked about, gardening tomatoes, maybe that was your specific. And this comes from a real case, a real example. So you have a newsletter on raising tomatoes, and then somebody else just has one on gardening in general. But you might talk to them and say, hey, I would like to talk about your newsletter in my newsletter. So in other words, in their email. And then what you do is you do an ad swap. So you would say, well, what would you like me to put into when I send out my newsletter? What would you like me to put in there about yours, and where they can click, and then they can join your newsletter. And so you would swap ads. And so you'd say like, okay, I only have 100 subscribers, and you have 500. So I'll owe you 5 ad swaps. So I'll kind of keep you in for 5 mailings. And so it just kind of allowed you to keep track of what you owed people and what their ad was and that kind of thing. So that was just a piece of software that came up because I saw a need for it, because I was doing ad swaps with people. But it's just really about being creative. So what is it that you can provide and provide to your community that, who you're trying to reach, that they would want to then give you at least, a payment of their email address. And that's kind of how I've run my list building career, so to speak. Because later on I've come out with other software products, more like this was, the other one was run on your desktop. So on your computer. And then this other stuff I came up with in the future later on was more like SaaS. So co-registration service and things like that. So, and that was to build lists and stuff. But basically just about being creative, what can you come up with that either a spin on something that other people are, already doing? Because I know like it's easy to say, well, everybody's done everything. Well, then you need to delve deep into your creative bucket of juice and get the stuff at the bottom, get the dregs at the bottom. You got, like after you fry something, you got to get those little tasty bits at the bottom,
Well, the other thing is, I mean, with that,
yeah.
Sorry, Doc. Go ahead, man.
No, it's fine.
I was going to say the other thing is just, people follow opinions. They don't follow facts. So like, no one has your opinions and your takes on these facts and these things that have happened. So even though, we can say, oh, well, that's already been done. This has already been done. I mean, if you feel that way, you got to understand, man, nobody else has your take on it. No one a million people have signed up for AWeber and a million people have tried to run those campaigns, but nobody's you. No one's done it like you. No one's experienced the exact same thing you've done and has your exact opinions on it. So I think there's room there for, a USP when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
There's always room because you have your own unique flavor and perspective and belief system, and not everybody will resonate with you. And it's the same story. If you look at colleges or grade school, you have a wide variety of teachers teaching the same subjects, and some people, they'll be their favorite teacher, and other people, they'll think this person was a demon from hell.
Let me tell you something. Like a day ago, I found myself reading an 8-page short story called "The Library of Babble" by this guy from Argentina back in 1941. It's an 8-page story. It's about this universe that's just a library. That's the whole universe. It's a library, and it's a bunch of hexagonal rooms. All the library books in this library, like basically it's an alphabet, right? It's 22 characters, and all manner. The letters are just all mixed up, right? And all the books. So most of the books don't say anything. And the thing about this library was everything existed in this library. This is why this story is fascinating to me. Everything existed in this library. All right, everything. Like your future, Troy, was in this library. Your past, the book was in this library that told the whole thing because it had every instance of the alphabet. over and over and over in these 410 page volumes over and over and over again. Right. And it was fascinating to me. And I told my wife, I said, this is a fascinating short story. It's only 8 pages and I'm obsessed with it. And I said, I want to like relate this somehow to internet marketing. And I didn't know how it related, you know what I'm saying? And then I just kept on thinking about it. And I was like, oh, I know how, because this is the internet, right? And the thing about that book, that story was most of the people who lived in this universe were depressed all the time because they couldn't find meaning. They knew it was there. It was there. Somewhere there was meaning here and there and everywhere. But it was the library is so full of stuff that meant nothing. Like they could never find it.
They had to decipher it. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to decipher it. So it was like a lot like the internet, you know. I used to tell people, hey man, the internet, you know, we're so lucky to live in this time because the internet, we have the world's knowledge at our fingertips now. We're so lucky. And last night I was thinking, you know what? We're actually not really that lucky because we got our own little library of babble here. It's not just the world's knowledge at our fingertips. It's also the world's lies. It's also the world's posturing. It's like the best and worst of humanity at our fingertips right here on the internet. And it's confusing and it's frustrating. And I think the difference is we can walk away from it, right? We have perspective because we can turn it off and go for a walk.
Well, people don't turn it off and go for a walk. And I think you're looking at, you know, when you say all the information is at our fingertips, I'll grant you that, you know, it's a lot easier doing a search on the internet that has reduced my paper cuts from the card catalog.
And exactly. Now that's a deep statement, you know. You know, but here's the thing. I was trying to get to a point, and I know I kind of got off on a tangent, and I'm sorry, guys, but like, here's the point, okay? I was looking at my numbers here, and I see I've just entered the top 10 revenue-generating products on Warrior Plus today. So that's fantastic for Email Fire 3. But part of that came from an email that I wrote to my list last night, today, about 1 a.m, about this library of babble, and then just like circling it back around to the internet and internet marketing and how it can be a confusing place. And it's hard to find the truth sometimes. But we're all seeking it out, and then circling that around to a pitch for Email Fire 3. But that's good email marketing. That's like using what's interesting to you at the time, whatever it is. Maybe it has nothing to do with your niche. Taking whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
That email about 15 minutes before we went live.
You did?
1941 was stuck in my head, and I scanned it quickly. I was like, what is this story? But I got to go back to it. So,
but it's interesting. You know, what Cam started with in the beginning was the way I term it is you've got to give when, you know, we talk about your own angle, or that's where Cam had started from. And I do really believe you need to have some sort of aha for people when they see your offer to join your list. Some sort of aha, like where they can see, wow, I need to be on this because of. So it's sort of an aha moment. Or another way to look at it is you need to move the needle for them. Because so many people are like this, you know, like, and you have the greatest product since, you know, sliced bread or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, but I mean, because if you don't move the needle for them, so, you know, or give them some sort of aha, they won't even subscribe to your list. I mean, that's how, like, people are like cynical and just they're like, if it, and that's kind of what that's the way I take what Cam was saying is, you need to take your own angle, your own spin. But I think those elements, it's really the same element, like an aha or a needle mover in there to where they just go, yeah, I'm going to at least give this a try. I mean, if, you know, they may get on, they may, you know, immediately unsubscribe after they get your first mailing or something like that. But you've got to move the needle so it moves you need to move their finger so it gets them to type in their, you know, their email address.
Absolutely right, Troy. You know, I couldn't agree more. And, you know, I know that is probably sounding intimidating to people. I tell some crazy story about, you know, some Argentinian librarian from 1941, and people are like, dude, I don't read stuff like that. I'm not into that, man. I can't do that. And I can't write like that. That doesn't matter. It is really about moving the needle, and you can't move the needle by following a pattern that you see everyone else doing. If you're like studying these marketers and you're like, yeah, I want to have the same look, the same feel. I want to write my emails or my content the same way as this guy because he's really successful or she's really successful. Like, it's not going to work for you as good. Like, you have to find a way to inject your own kind of thing into it, because that's the only way you're going to move the needle, because people haven't seen it yet, because it's your thing.
Yeah, I think that's, if you can model people and you model
sure.
others, but the thing is, if you try to take on their voice, you are a poor imitation of their voice.
That's it.
Nobody can imitate you.
Yeah, and Doc's right. I don't mean you shouldn't model them. Their business model is different, but you have to kind of find a way to inject your own personal style into it. You know what I mean? Even if you don't feel like you have a style, you really do. If you're like 20 years old in the world, you've had enough experience in the world to have some kind of a voice to yourself. How do you talk when you're speaking to your friends? What does that look like? That's kind of how it needs to look,
And what do you say when you go to a party? Because that, to me, that's
Yeah.
what media is all about, making connections with people, talking to people. I mean, I've connected with a number of people recently, and it was just through relatively innocuous things, and it was something that I found interesting about them.
Hey, listen, man, the best things you can write in email or on social media is the stuff that you're a little scared to write because you're afraid people are going to judge you for it, right? Take the brakes off, man. Take these training wheels off. Roll. Throw it out there and see what happens.
Yeah,
man.
And this is the other thing. I think that's a very important point, because you really want to repel the people who aren't interested in you and who are not going to be good customers. Why waste your money on holding on to those emails?
True.
It actually, another thought comes to my mind is Cam had talked a while back about, people in essence lying in their on their sales pages or things that were, we'll just say, not full truths or whatever. And some people do that as a way to distinguish themselves and hope that they're not either going to be called on it or they can explain it away, kind of thing. And we'll just say that that's an easy route to do and to follow, but don't, because that's really short-term thinking. And if I'm assuming that everybody watching is really wanting to do long-term business, because it sucks to start out at zero again with anything. So just start, get out on the right foot, you know what I mean? And just be, legit and honest and again, honesty. Honesty can scare some people away as well. So I'm not saying that you don't want to finesse maybe some of the things you're saying to help nurture people into your system or process and then help them. But when they reach a certain point, there maybe need to be some, I was going to say honesty, but the way I want to describe it is there needs to be where you need to go, okay, now you've reached a certain level where you need to then to adjust some things. Meaning, let me give you an example, because these are pretty big generalizations, but
abstract, yeah.
But yeah, so when you put out your sales letter, you present things in their best light, right? And so then people will be involved. Again, I'm not talking, definitely don't lie, but we're talking about you put them in their best light. And then as people get into your system, you or they buy your product, whatever it is, you then want to help them to actually put the things into place and to implement them. And if in the beginning you would have said, hey, look, this is going to be difficult, and there are appropriate times to say that, and it also depends on your audience and the angle you want to take. But if you finesse them to where they're not exactly saying that, and then they get in and they get to that point where it's difficult to implement them, then you need to help them adjust, and that's through your training to where they become aligned with the things that they need. This does sound so esoteric still.
It's just sounding a little bit like you're promising him an easy button later, and later on you say, well, by the way, there really is no easy.
Right, and that to me would be lying, though. An easy button would be lying.
Yeah.
But smoothing something out because you know that you can guide them to that point, because that's part of your process. You can get them from A to Z, but if you always if you just tell them that it's only an A to B, that to me would be like lying, right?
Yeah,
But if you know your process
yeah,
helps mold them to become what they need to be to reach Z, then I'm okay with that. And so again, my brain's not doing good except for being esoteric in the way I'm describing it. But again, there's a difference between flat out lying in your stuff, and like I said, Cam had talked about that earlier. Or he had a big thing about that in the past that we kind of talked about. But I do believe, and I do understand when you're writing sales letter of, you smooth things out. But I also do believe that if whatever you're promising needs to be covered in what you're delivering.
I'm wondering if the promise, I'll get to you, Cam, in just a second here. I'm wondering if the promise is sort of a vision of the future. Like, imagine a time when you no longer have to worry about paying bills. Imagine this. Can you see yourself in the future? But then you're not promising it's going to happen instantaneously, but you can tell them you're going to reach a series of milestones on your journey, which can get you there if you put in the work.
Right.
Yeah. I love what you guys are talking about. Troy, you had mentioned about, people trying to take this kind of short-term thinking route. And there is a big, there's a big pull for people to try to pretend to be something they're not, especially when they're first getting started. And, they're trying to build a list, or they're trying to do stuff, and they kind of try to put themselves in a position of like kind of fake it until you make it. But fake it till you make it. It's not very sustainable, man. It's not sustainable because people talk all around, and the space isn't really that big. It doesn't take that long, maybe 12 months, maybe 20, maybe 15 months before you start to figure out everybody who's making money online. In your niche, in your particular niche, you start to figure out everybody who's moving and everybody who's making moves and everybody else who's not. It doesn't take very long to figure it out. So because things move fast, I launched a product 3 months ago. 3 months ago, I was launching affiliate Safari, and that's like ancient history. That was like, where'd that go? You know what I mean? Epic Conversions is the brand equity. You know what I mean? It's not affiliate Safari. Affiliate Safari is a great low ticket product, but it moves fast in this space, and you can't have that short term kind of thinking mindset of like, I'm just going to fake it until I make it. I'm going to get in and make a bunch of money and then get out in 24 months. You ain't going to make it 24 months, brother. You're going to be done. You're going to be done in like 4 months because people are going to figure out you're full of crap and they're going to buy one of your products and it's not going to work for them. Everybody's going to be laughing at you and then you're going to be done. So I guess the final thing I would say about that is just like reputation is an asset.
Yeah.
So I think you got to consider that long-term game plan. That's what Troy was saying.
Manage your reputation before you need to hire reputation management.
Yeah. And actually that's true, reputation. And one thing that Cam said, I think people are going to hear this and like, oh yeah, whatever. I know that. But I think it's overlooked extremely is that customers are a little asset. So if you are going to, jump in and try to, make the big bucks and be out in 24 months, listen, if you ain't taking care of your customers, you don't have assets and you really don't have a business. So, again, it sounds like it is a kind of a cliche statement in the sense of, customers are assets, but I think that's overlooked.
I'll tell you something else, man. I'll tell you something else. I don't think I've ever met anybody who got into this business who just wanted to get in here and screw people over and rip everybody off. That's not how it happens. People get in here, they start failing, it starts getting really frustrating, they start spending a lot of money, and then they get really desperate and they just do anything they can do. And then once they figure out how to make the money, then it's like a slow decline into just like crap. But it never starts out somebody just gets in here and like, man, I just want to screw everybody over and make a bunch of money. But it can devolve into that really fast if you don't draw a line in the sand and say, look, man, here's a line I'm not going to cross. I need to be able to treat people. I want to make millions online. I want to do it just an amazing way, but I have to do it like on my terms. You know what I mean? You have to draw the line in the sand.
Yeah, and you got to be ethical because just think about it. If you had a bricks and mortar business, You have to look upon it the same way as if things were happening in real life and not in a digital space. So if you sold somebody a product out of your store that you knew was defective and probably wouldn't work and might get them angry, but think, oh, well, you know, they're just a tourist, they'll be leaving town and they probably won't come back for a refund. And that thing gets around your reputation within the community, you're going to have your doors closed in a very short period of time. I don't care if you're a restaurant or a tackle shop or whatever it is. And you need to treat people as if online, as if you were meeting them face to face.
And I think it's worse here because exactly what you said, because it's online and they feel there's a degree of anonymity.
Yep.
There's a subconsciously people feel like they can hide if they want to, and they can get away with like an alias, and they can get away with like a cartoon avatar, and like you can just like just go crazy with it, and I don't know, man. It's like you said, man. You need to try to treat it like it's real life.
Yeah, like you're face to face. And that's why I say, I just keep repeating myself, like social media, treat it like you're going to a party. I mean, you don't suddenly go up to somebody when they, you introduce yourself and they say, would you like a drink? And they say, hey, would you like to buy your life insurance?
Yeah.
And Troy was saying customers are assets.
Yeah.
And I love that, man. I love that like kind of way of looking at it, because check it out. Like, so I'll have, I try to email my list every week, at least once, if I'm not like doing anything or whatever. But if I don't, because sometimes I don't, man, and I've lost a lot of focus during this COVID-19 thing. I'll tell you, man, it's been crazy over the last few months. And I have people reaching out to me on my list saying, hey, man, am I still on your list, man? I haven't heard from you for a little while. What's been going on? And like that means so much to me, that like my list will reach out to me and ask me what's going on and how I'm doing. So, I mean, I would say that Troy is absolutely right when he says your customers are assets, man. But when you can put yourself in that position to where, they feel like they're your friends, and it's just a big group of friends, and, that's a good spot to be in. And that really is kind of where you want to strive to be when it comes to email.
Yeah, and get to the point where they feel they know you and know you really well without ever having met you in person.
Yeah.
And also, for people to give them a little bit of expectation, manage those, is that does take some time. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily going to read one email and they're going to be your bestie. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just take that, into consideration that's part of it. Two things that popped on mind as you guys were talking was, number one, quick statement of, it's easy to talk about making millions and whatever online, right? But I just want to say to you, from having lived the lifestyle, $100,000 a year. So in other words, 1/10 of a million, you can live a really nice lifestyle. And so, nothing, I'm not trying to be braggadocious, anything like that, or bragging, anything like that, but I'm just letting you know that, it takes a stress off when you know that you can have a really good, nice lifestyle at that. And you can probably achieve most, if not everything, with that kind of income. And, because my original goals were, millions and whatever, and then just retire. Well, I'm like, I'll never retire. I love what I do. So I'll always be involved in some form or fashion. Because I don't want to just, dry up and, blow away in the wind, in my older years. But just FYI, $100,000 is a good yearly income, and you can accomplish a lot of things with that. Hey, man, not that I'm saying you have to limit yourself.
Hey, I 100% agree. Dude, I'd rather make $100,000 and feel comfortable about how I'm treating my customers and feel like I still get to escape with my soul intact than make $1 million a year and like just know that I'm screwing so many people over, and just like, peers and customers and everybody to get to the top,
right?
Step on all kinds of heads. I totally agree, man.
Plus, I'll say, plus, you have to watch out for, that kind of stuff. I mean, you have the FTC, so just always be above board and everything like that. And treat your customers right. Again, they're assets. Yeah. The other point that I wanted to throw out too is about, it's not just about one way of building a list. So I know people are like, oh, I'm going to do this one thing. And maybe you can get to that point where one particular thing works really well for you, and you can continue to work that over over the years, and it just works, right? But the point is to, as you're starting out, is you try many different things, and sometimes you may find that it's the manner in which you executed it didn't work, so it just needs some tweaking, or that it's not a good method for you. I mean, it'll take time for that, but there's many different ways that you can go about doing things to build your list. You could be on a YouTube channel, and then you have in the description you can have how they can join your list. You do writing particular articles, and you're building your list that way. You can build a free piece of software like I did to give out, or it's even a how-to guide. It's a checklist. I mean, there's just so many different ways that you can do it, and certain ones will have a certain lifespan, and then some, like I say, maybe it may have a longer lifespan, and then you may also just find out that there's a particular way that works for you, and you can just kind of continue to do that, and that's your main way of doing it. But so don't get discouraged if you've tried 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when there's really like, not exactly, but in almost an infinite way, because it's about your angle, your spin, your creativity, and that kind of thing. But I just want to point out to people that there's just so many ways. So if something for you right now is not working and you have already tweaked it, then try a different way. But if you haven't tweaked it, then start working on tweaking variations.
I think also that when it comes to circling back to expectations and lifestyle, it's not absolutely essential that to your self-esteem that you have to have a 10K day to feel okay about yourself and what you're doing.
What do you say, John? What do you say?
I'm trying to figure out were you eaten by a? I thought you were endangered, like being eaten by a bear because your camera went out.
No. Friend of mine that we're hanging out with this weekend.
Are you at a nudist camp and he walked by without any clothes on? Okay. I just wondered.
No.
I thought it was a Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah.
I saw the truck and I was like, oh wait, never mind.
No Bigfoot. No.
Did he bring a hot dish? No.
Did he
Did
bring
he come bearing food?
He came over to, I'm sure, borrow something that he forgot, right?
No, actually, he was very nice. He came over to
that's
some
cool.
That's awesome.
which was very cool. So yeah, he's got a seasonal spot here. So
That looks beautiful, man.
Enjoying
Looks
the
beautiful behind you there, man. The trees, everything looks sweet.
it's a great spot. Yeah. The only thing that's a little bit of a bummer, we found out we're like very close to the highway, so you can probably hear like cars,
No.
which is very unusual here. But we're fairly close to the highway where we are.
Where you at, man? Are you in Maine?
I am in way up north, not way up north, but like New Hampshire, where I live, just a little bit further north.
Nice. Cool, man.
You drove out of the driveway and went a mile or what?
No.
No.
A mile and a half.
Yeah, quite a few miles.
Hey, John, let me ask you a question, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you're doing video marketing, have you found any particular like lead magnet that seems to work the best for you when it comes to like taking people who are watching your live videos and actually getting results at putting them on an email list or whatever?
I have. One of the things I like to do, because, obviously I do a lot of stuff with live video. People are seeing me by live video. So very often I'll create a lead magnet that is a video, that's something that's very transformative. They can get some, good results from right away. And I try to keep it, something that's pretty short and pretty concise so that they can do it, maybe within a half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that.
So with the lead magnet, like with the video itself, like let's say I opt in to get that video, like how long would you like that video to be? Like that I opted in to get that video, like how long do you want that kind of a video to be?
Ideally, if I can get to do something in under 20 minutes would be perfect.
Okay.
In fact, I'd prefer it to be somewhere around 10.
Like the video itself.
The video itself.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I think a lot of times you see people and they'll do, hey, come watch this webinar. Well, the webinar is just too darn long. I mean, it's an hour long, and most of us just don't have the time to sit through an hour long thing. It's just so much easier to sit through something that's maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's definitely really should be under 20. And so that's why somewhere in that time frame is perfect, because most people just can't dedicate. If I see something really quick, Cam, and something pops up and I go, man, I wish I could spare 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, but there's no way I can sit through like an hour. I mean, I see all these webinars I'd like to watch, but I just can't dedicate an hour to it right now. I could watch it later. I try to make it something that they could just say, I can take the time now, I'll watch it, and let's see what happens.
Dude, when you're doing like a video, like on YouTube or on live stream, and you send them to a squeeze page to opt in to watch that 10 or 15 minute video, like on that squeeze page, do you find what produces the highest conversion rate for you on that squeeze page? Do you put a video on that, or just the title, or a picture of a box cover? Like, what has worked better for you?
Oh man. I'm working on a whole bunch of new lead magnets now. So I don't know if I've really got that data in the past. I've just tried to make it a very simple, very quick, all text opt-in, maybe text with an image, but definitely not a video opt-in, because it's just most
too
people
much.
just want to go through that. I heard something recently that really kind of got me thinking. They were talking about school and the kids going back to school, and how many people actually have high-speed internet. It's way less people than I ever imagined. In fact, there's a lot of the country that does not still have very high-speed internet. They're kind of like stuck with very slow DSL. And so that's got me rethinking a lot. I'm always kind of thinking there's a lot of people more people have access to high-speed video, and it's not true.
Dude, I remember back in the early 2000s, still having dial-up.
Yeah.
Hey, get off the phone, man. I'm trying to make a phone call. What?
Exactly.
Hey, man, I'm trying to look at this website. I'll get off in a second.
I know. And no matter.
Hey, I'm trying to look at this website. It'll download another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, three things popped up when John was talking. John hit a home run. He didn't realize in what he said. But let me talk about two quick other things as part of my three. That's why I did the three quick signal a second ago. Okay, so number one, I find 20 minutes again or less is good. Another thing that I found is the result that you get for people, if they can in essence get a result from what you're giving them in about, say, a 20-minute, 30-minute period. In other words, it's something easy for them to implement and to actually get a result that they can see and that they can appreciate. That actually helps them connect with you by having an actual positive result, not just them reading something and then they just move on with life. And then here's the home run. It was a reminder, and it goes back with the aha or move the needle type thing. And that is that they have a transformation. And that's really what it is that. So whatever you're giving away and how you're describing it. So in other words, in your sales letter for your subscription, right? So in other words, if you're doing all text or with a video or with an image or even in a description in your YouTube channel, you're wanting to help them understand that there's going to be a transformation by getting on your list or by getting this, this product that you have. This, what's can't think of the word now. Your lead magnet. I was thinking lead gen. I'm like, it's not gen. What's that I'm looking for? Your lead magnet. That it's going to have some sort of transformational thing for them. And then, like I say, if they can get through it within, say, 20 minutes, and then also it's a 20 to 30 minute implementation for them, they actually start that connection that we talked about earlier, of looking forward to your stuff and that kind of thing. And then if you can kind of keep that ball rolling. Anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's funny. There's been a big shift from stuff to experiences, and the thing here, this is true with what we do too. It's not all about the thud factor; it's about the experiential factor. And what can I experience with you what can I actually get from my work with you? What do I actually see? Because we've all dealt with a lot of people that we've never had an experience or transformation with. We've just gotten stuff, and sometimes we haven't even gotten stuff. So I think it's, true here that it's all about the experience factor.
I wonder if transformation is too strong a word for a lead magnet, only because I think transformation takes a fair amount of time and nurturing to really come about, unless they get this phenomenal aha moment from your ebook or your PDF.
That is a good point, and I will address it with this. A transformation, like you hear me always say, I'll say two different things. I'll say A to B and A to Z, right? A to Z meaning that there's steps,
levels.
not just one step, right? A to B. So it could be an A to a B though. So it can be a small transformation. We're not talking about Tony. I know Dr. V, you just got done with a Tony Robbins event, right? So you're thinking, how can you do A to Z? How can you promise that? No, you promise A to B, so to speak. So it's like a sampling or a tasting plate, you know what I mean? That they get a portion of that, but it now they're not so completely hungry, right? Because they've had a little something, and they like that, and that kind of thing. So that
tiny taste may make you even hungrier.
True, but it still transforms you from being starving to now you got a little something, right?
It's
have it
a
inside
tangible
of-
something that they can walk away with,
So that would be the distinction that I would give you.
Yeah.
Man, we talk about like email marketing and stuff like this. First, I want to point out two things. All right. First, there's been a checkmate moment in the last during the show. There's been a checkmate moment here, and I'll tell you what it is. So me and Troy have been going back and forth on this microphone thing. All right. And he's been telling me I need to get better microphone equipment. This cheap stuff is ridiculous. And like I've been telling him, no, this cheap stuff is awesome. I'm a cheapskate. I don't want to mess with no expensive crap anymore. I'm done with expensive crap. I want all cheap crap. And so then we get on this live show, and of course my cheap crap craps out and yeah. Troy's over there like, ha ha ha, that's what I said, bro. It's a checkmate, man. It's a checkmate. I lost the duel, man. I lost a duel right here on this show today. I lost a duel against Troy McDonald. But the good news is I use everything, right? This is an email for me. Like I'll tell the story in email. And
I actually think it was more a game of checkers. He's like,
yeah, it's really a game of checkers.
Yeah, it's simpler than that.
And, there's a lot of great Best Buys and equipment. Just because you want to get something inexpensively doesn't mean you've got to get something that's a complete piece of crap.
No.
There's some great inexpensive buys. I mean, Dr. V's got the Samsung Go mic. I love that thing. It's like
dirt cheap.
It's awesome. I just ran across a great lapel mic for my iPhone. David Frey had mentioned it the other day, and I'm like, man, I got to get one of these things. It's like $24. Nice little lapel mic, plugs right directly into your iPhone. You don't need the adapter for it.
Yeah,
it's great inexpensive equipment. There's no need to,
Specifically, I only told it to Cam because I love him. I like him. You know what I mean? And he's also been around music and junk, so it's not like I was talking to somebody that had no idea. But the other thing that we had talked about too is that price really isn't indicative of quality in certain things. Like I have found there are actually some quite good mics for like $30 or even cheaper, you know what I mean, like $19.95 kind of thing like that. However, paying a low price unless you know what you're getting, like somebody's really recommended it, etc. Because there are some actually really cheap lapel mics that work really good. There's an over the ear one that works really good. It sounds good, and it's like $30 as well. But and my thing is, I think we've always heard this too. When it comes to video, I mean, your audio's got to be on. I mean, like on point. Like, and what I mean by on point, that it's just got to work and etc. So I wasn't. I'm not ever gonna slam Cam, and I won't say I say I told you so.
Slam Cam.
I'm being funny. He was not. I was making him sound a lot more. I was just being funny. Me and Tori were just talking about it. Really, we weren't really going back and forth.
Yeah, and so anyway, so that was the story to that. But it is kind of funny though that his mic did crap out. I was laughing on the inside because I'm like, oh my gosh, we just had this conversation and whatnot stuff. So
and I never have a problem like putting myself when I'm wrong. Like literally, I never have a problem like putting myself out there. I'm eating my own words right now. There's irony to it when you're eating your own words. You know, there's a beautiful irony to eating your own words sometimes.
But actually though, psychologically though, I think it's a. Are we getting attacked here?
I was.
Mosquitoes.
It is good though to recognize things. I mean, I've let and I'm not pointing you out. I'm literally thinking of myself, because when you say that you'll point things out for yourself. When I've done that, I think that's just an opportunity for me to grow. You know, when I really just, because my ego sometimes has gotten in the way with just different things, business things, church things, just whatever, where you just kind of,
Mine too. Man.
Yeah, it just gets in there and you're like, you know what? I mean, it's the right thing, or they're right, or it makes sense now. And,
yeah,
and
you know what's funny? I don't think I've ever helped myself or grown with my ego. Like I really don't. I don't think I can't think of one example where having a giant inflated ego has ever like helped me get to another level at anything. You know, I mean, it's good to be confident, right? But it's also, good to like be able to recognize where you're falling short and messing up as well, right? You know,
right. But I think confidence and ego, they are two different things though. So I think confidence is one thing, and and ego to me, now you say it and I really think about it, it's just something that kind of gets in the way. You know what I mean? And pride is something that I think stops us more from growing and being more of what we can be, and how we can serve. And then the ego, and that's why I bring up pride, is because ego and pride kind of.
And pride is also a group of lions, which takes us back to affiliate Safari and Camp.
Hey man, this little mic here didn't cost very much. This was like $60, I think.
Your snowball.
This little blue snowball, and it does pretty good. I mean, people might be into this. I want something that's like $5, man. Where's my $5 microphone? That way I can laugh all the way to the bank.
Where's my rocket backpack? My flying car. I want my flying car.
Yeah.
What's that in the 60s?
Hey guys, I see you guys next time. I'm gonna have a potato. You guys will be like, "What the hell's that?" I'm gonna like, "This is a microphone, man. I made this last night out of a potato."
Oh my gosh! He'll have it on a mic stand too. It'll be all professional looking. What's that? It's my potato mic.
Hey John, any last words, since we've actually went past our hour?
We're on a roll. We're on a potato roll.
Rock and roll, a potato or roll. You can't have both today.
John actually looks frozen and he's muted.
I think he's frozen and muted. Oh yeah, he is.
He's not having a seizure, is he?
No, I think he's okay. I think
hey, look, there's Bigfoot in the background. Is that Bigfoot?
Holy cow!
It is Bigfoot.
Oh my gosh.
Oh well, John will be joining us next week, we hope, unless he's on a mountaintop someplace. Oh, he's pushed himself out for a moment. Hey, so any final thoughts on email, since we see that most of us see it as a vital part to starting a new business or expanding your existing business?
You want to go, man?
Go, Troy, go.
And go. Okay, so I'll throw a couple quickies out there. Again, be creative, try many different things, find out what works, and it's going to take some time, but you can definitely do it, because everybody starts at 0. You're not, or wherever you're at, right? You maybe are at 1,000 subscribers. You're like, but I don't have a 10,000 list. You know what I mean? Just keep going, right? Then the other thing is move the needle for people. Give them some sort of transformation. Doesn't have to be A to Z. We didn't have to say that you have to give me, a super big product or video or training or anything like that, but something that moves a needle. And again, the sooner that they can take that thing and implement it. So in other words, you have something that they can consume, implement it. It'll cause a transformation for them. They'll connect to you a lot quicker. And now on to, I don't know who.
Let's go to John quickly while he still has a connection.
Yes.
Yes.
So your takeaway or last thing, John?
Your last thought.
So my takeaway for today, let's see. I think I'm glad we talked about email today, because email is important to connect with anything that you do. So if you're in video or you are social involved with social media, it's so important to just kind of tie all that stuff together. So I'm really glad we talked about that today. We're just gonna park it there.
Good one, man.
Yeah,
Good one.
give it to us,
Good point.
brother Cam.
Yeah, man. Look, I would just kind of like right on the back of what Troy was saying about building it up. It does feel overwhelming when you're first getting started trying to build that list, and I think that's why many people run into the open arms of, quick $100 a day, no list required, all those kind of offers. But look, man, if you put a critical focus on just trying to build the thing, it really doesn't. I'm talking a matter of weeks, few months, you're going to start seeing results with that list, and you're going to start building it up pretty quickly. And then the other thing I would say, besides just that 100% focus on trying to build it and practice your email marketing, but the other thing I would say besides that is, look, don't be afraid to look stupid. I mean, don't worry about looking stupid, man. You got to take the training wheels off. Whatever it is that you're afraid to say, that you think is going to make you look dumb or stupid, that's probably the thing that's going to get people's attention and make them buy from you and make you memorable, but make you move the needle, as Troy was talking about. That ever elusive piece of content that will move the needle, because that's what everyone's going to get stuck on. How do I move the needle? Right. And I think that's it. Taking the training wheels off and just trying to be yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and I would just say that kind of piggybacking on that, it takes courage to start your own business. And if you are going to put yourself out there, courage doesn't mean that you have no fear whatsoever and that you're completely confident no matter what.
Right.
It means that you're willing to face the fear, do it anyway, and come out the other side feeling more accomplished. And if you do decide to start a business or expand your business, whether you're male or female, you got to use email. So, popped in my head. I don't know why. All right. We will be back again next week. We hope you found some useful information here. We now actually have a little page on the Book of Faces, which actually says Marketing Happy Hour. You can actually
Nice.
find that on Facebook, and all these videos are going to be there. But it's also a place, a central location, where you can add your questions, your comments. Let us know what other topics you want to have covered, because that would be really helpful to a couple of us. And we'll be back next week at around, it's usually 2:05. But
Hey, Dr. V, I got a question though for you. Sign out.
what is it?
So on that page, because I like the page and everything.
Yeah.
I liked the page. I liked with the little, the thumbs up. Are we going to be able to, like, if so people post stuff and they had a specific question or something like that, we're going to be able to?
They should be able to. I mean, the comments and things are going to be relatively open, as opposed to groups where they have to be
Okay.
this and that. Now, if you're in there and trolling and doing mean and nasty stuff, you will get pushed out. So just
Down and kill you.
rewind, and you'll find that we will be very helpful. So next week, 5-ish Eastern, 2 Pacific, 3 Mountain, 11 a.m. Hawaiian time. And, those of you in Central, 4 o'clock on a Friday. Come on over for the Marketing Happy Hour. We'll be here to give you good cheer and a lot of good information. Bye-bye.
See you guys.